Hello, everyone. You know, I've talked to a lot of people about their favorite games, and surprisingly, most people tended to have at least one game that purely focused on PvP near the top of their list. This is despite the fact that most people that I've talked to are not really big into the competitive scenes of those games. And this got me thinking as to why. I did talk about why competitive games are more fun for certain people than others, but when I thought about it more, I had to question why even people who consider themselves casual would seek out these PvP-oriented games and thoroughly enjoy them. A lot of people, myself included, can get rather salty when they lose, yet they still try to play a game that honestly may not be in their element. Even knowing that their personal skill might be lacking, they still have the confidence to go against better players and strive to win. Yeah, in PvP, the goal is pretty much set that you're playing to win, but when you see how emotionally invested some people are, it can be a bit disorienting, especially if they aren't normally that passionate about the game. Like, for instance, I consider myself rather casual when it comes to time and dedication to most games, but when I actually get into the flow of the match, I tend to get extremely competitive. I've been told that in almost every versus game I've played that I have a hyper-aggressive playstyle. Apparently, I just keep pushing forward even if it's the reason why I'd eventually lose. To this point, as novice as I am in more strategic and slow-paced games, I'm still viewed as always being on the offensive. And honestly, this all just really reminds me of what my friend told me fighting games are like. He said that playing fighting games, or PvP in general, is almost like having a conversation with someone. You're trying your best to get a read on the opponent's mood and react accordingly so that you control the flow of the conversation. Deep down, a person's playstyle in PvP is somewhat a reflection of themselves, because as opposed to other competitive games that are more PvE, there's usually not really any way to control the outcome besides one's own actions. Like, speedrunning has been getting pretty popular lately, but for the most part, they're done in a solo setting, and it's the results that are compared to others. Even in more directly competitive events like speedrun races, rarely is there a way to directly affect the other person's actions. Yeah, the progression of both people might psychologically influence how someone conducts a race, such as the risk and reward factors for going for certain tricks, but in the end, it's almost entirely up to the individual how to act. This isn't the case in PvP games, though. In PvE or solo-based competitive, a person does their very best to make a plan and follow through with it. Of course, in PvP, you try to do the same thing, but the difference is that the other person is directly trying to make your plan fail. If you try to move forward but your opponent is in the way, you simply don't have that option anymore. Your solution to do what you want is, essentially, make sure the opponent can't do what they want. And this is probably where the most salt comes from, because it's usually not a fun time to have your game plan ruined. In the end, though, I guess people who don't usually enjoy PvP get into it because it's sometimes just plain fun overcoming another person. Rather than purely refining one's skills, it's the ability to realize when those skills are applicable and to use them effectively. I know it's satisfying when something situational finally plays out how you want it, but not everyone gets that. Still, people probably play and get salty because they're trying to pursue that feeling. Anyway, I just had some thoughts about PvP when I was playing Smash with friends. We all enjoy it pretty casually, but when I suggested switching to Rivals, which is inherently more competitive, no one wanted to join in, despite everyone having fun with Smash. So yeah, in the end, there's different types and levels of PvP, and I guess when I get into the flow, it's pretty intense. To anyone who actually watches this video, thanks for listening to my rambling. I hope you have a refreshing day. Peace.